welcome back to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And today's episode, we're going to be talking about the most haunted places in the USA.
Yeah. I think we did.
We did one about the UK already, yeah.
Yeah, that was like
It was a long time ago. It was about 30 years ago now.
Yeah, so we decided
Maybe about 30 episodes.
So what, that many?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, we pump these out, and we've shortened them to like one a week, but still,
Yeah.
we're pretty consistent.
Okay, so I don't know if these are the most
haunted. The most haunted.
But there's some of the most haunted.
Some of the most haunted, because you think about America as being haunted. And yeah, it's just haunted all over the place. And I mean, that's probably what, Halloween and everything, it started from like superstitions, because Halloween's coming up. Mm-hmm. And, it all started from like European superstitions and Samhain and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
It was like maybe a religious holiday to begin with, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pagan holiday.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I can't remember. I watched an episode that was really, really interesting one year on the History Channel, I think it was. And it was talking all about the origins of Halloween and actually the evolution. So how it came to be what it is today,
I mean, what it is today is largely, in Britain, it's largely thought of as an American holiday.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
It's like trick or treat, candy, pumpkin heads,
it's changing though, because
ghosts
of the internet.
And monsters, and it's very commercial, so they think, oh well, that was what America did for it.
I think kids are seeing it on the internet, and they're like, oh, why don't we do that over here? That looks fun, wearing costumes and going to get candy and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did do it. Well, I mean, I used to do it up in Scotland. I think it might be more popular in Scotland than it is in the rest of the UK. I'm not sure, but I mean, when I was, a kid, like, I remember going, oh, we're going trick-or-treating, you gotta, dress up as like an ugly, grotesque monster.
Yeah.
And carry a bucket round to these houses, go trick-or-treat, and they'll give you, chocolate and sweets and stuff.
We had trick-or-treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. If you don't, I don't care. I'll pull down your underwear or something like that.
I think that was just you. I don't think anybody else did that little rhyme. I think you did that at and they knew it was you. It was like, oh, that's Erica. No, they had to guess who I was as well. It's so funny because when we went round all the like places and stuff, because I barely remember doing this. I mean, there was parties like for Halloween when I was growing up, but I never went like trick-or-treating except for that like maybe one time.
Yeah.
And so...
And was anybody even actually handing out candy?
Yeah, they were, I went with my cousins, and I remember I had this, like, mask, this plastic mask of, like, this monster.
Yeah.
There's footage of it on one of those tapes, I think. And I remember he was like, oh, you gotta guess who that is, guess who this is, guess who I am,
Yeah.
And they're like, it's Dominic. I was like, how do you know it's me? Who are you? I don't even know who you are. How do you know my name? Because I was, like, all, like... done up. I had a mask.
Costume. You're not supposed to know who I am.
Yeah. I was like this ugly, grotesque monster witch thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like today, like they dress up as I'm a superhero and.
Oh yeah.
Or I'm, Eddie Munson from Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Like in the early. Well, I mean, I say that I have no idea. I think people have always dressed as fairies or.
Oh yes,
whatever, but yeah, I think there might have been a bigger emphasis on scary back in the day, and over time it's just like any kind of costume you can dream up.
Any costume goes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in Britain, like fancy dress parties are a thing anyway.
Yeah.
We call them fancy dress, meaning you dress as like a character, or from something, not like fancy dresses in like black tie and dinnerwear,
Yeah. Dinnerwear.
Whatever you call it, tuxedo.
Knives and forks. And...
dinnerwear, like fancy dinnerwear.
Yes.
Okay. So what are these things?
The most haunted USA. I didn't want to just go, find an article
Yeah.
And just basically come back here and read through it because, anybody could do that.
So you curated your own.
So I compiled a list from several different articles, just places that sounded interesting or places that I definitely know are fairly well known in this country, for being haunted. Some others that I definitely did not know were supposedly haunted, and some that I've never heard of. But first of all, haunting. Where do you stand on places being haunted? Yeah.
Where do I stand on it? How do you mean? Just like, do I believe in it? Or...
Yeah.
I mean, I believe there's some, spooky connections to some places.
Yeah.
Around the world. And
I mean, I would never be so arrogant as to go, absolutely not. There's no...
Oh, no.
Because what do I know,
There may be something,
yeah. And it's like the world is made up of energy and...
I mean, I've got some personal ghost stories that I'll share in a Patreon.
Oh, yes. I think that'll be fun, yeah.
So if you want to hear them, check out our Patreon.
Patreon.com/teandabuddy.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna probably go ahead and do that one after this one, I think.
Yes.
Just while we're fresh with our spooky
fresh in
stories.
our minds. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. Okay, so first of all, I just wanted to start off because we're in Texas. For anybody who listening, this is your first time
Texas.
Here. Yeah, we're in Texas. We live in Texas. So I thought let's start off in Texas. And the number one, what's the most haunted place in, let's say, Austin, which is where we are, that you can think of?
I mean, I can't think of anything but the Driscoll.
Nah. There you go. The Driscoll Hotel, yeah.
The Driscoll Hotel, because, hotels are infamous for being haunted.
Why?
It's all because that's where a lot of people stay.
I guess so.
And a lot of murders happen
A lot
there.
of people pass through.
Yeah.
So, not even just murders, I suppose. Maybe just die naturally.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
And
their spirit never leaves.
So, they might... what are they saying online now? They're saying unalive themselves. That's the way they're saying.
Unalive themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They might unalive themselves, or just die naturally. There was a story. Who was it? Somebody not that long ago, died running on the treadmill in some hotel he was in. He had like a fatal heart attack. I think he was someone semi-famous, maybe a politician or something. I don't remember.
I don't know. This kind of ties into the BBC Ghosts.
Yes. Yeah. Have we
Have
ever done a podcast about ghosts?
I think we have.
Yeah.
No, maybe we didn't. I don't know.
You guys should check that out. If you can't get the BBC, then
I think it's on
HBO
Max. It comes on the
does
BBC version. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just told one of our patrons actually about that. So.
Oh, okay. The American version is quite funny as well, actually.
Yeah.
And it's airing now, so on CBS, I think.
CBS on Thursdays, I think.
Okay, so the Driscoll Hotel here in Austin. This little blurb about it comes from Travel Texas. So if you want to go look it up and see what else is on their list. There isn't just one Driscoll Hotel haunting. Many stories circulate the lavish halls of the Austin Hotel. One tale claims that the grand staircase at the Driscoll is haunted by a young girl who met her fate in 1887, chasing her toy ball right over the edge.
Oh, no.
Another alleges that the Driscoll Hotel Room 525 is the site where two distressed brides took their own lives on their honeymoon exactly 20 years apart. On their honeymoon?
20 years apart?
Yeah. Two different brides.
Oh, two different brides.
Took
Okay,
their own
yeah.
lives in that same hotel room. That's terrible. Both on their honeymoon?
Yeah. So an eerie presence in there.
They just
Something
decided,
compelled them to do it.
Yeah. Somebody was like, this guy,
This guy. So it was like, this guy.
This guy you're with.
This guy, get gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Then it makes it a little bit like,
Chasing
did they
toy
take their
ball.
own lives?
Yeah.
Why would they do that on their honeymoon?
It was the ghosts.
The ghosts, yeah. There's always Why is there always like a little girl ghost?
There's always a little girl ghost.
There's always a little girl ghost.
There's always a little girl ghost. And, it comes from like, like all those films and stuff you see, like with the eerie girl ghosts.
Yeah.
They're just like little kids, like, oh.
And they're always like chasing a ball, or they have some kind of little doll that they're carrying around, or something.
Creepy doll,
yeah. Yeah. My high school had their prom at the Driscoll.
Oh, yeah.
Did I ever tell you that?
Yeah. You went to your prom, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, we had it at the Driscoll. I don't remember any spooky anything happening. But yeah, it's very well known in Austin that the Driscoll is haunted,
Just running up and down in your little prom dress. Chasing
we
your ball.
We were very fancy, okay?
Very fancy.
Okay.
You had your fancy dress.
Here's one that I've never heard of. This is also in Texas.
Yeah.
It might surprise you, actually. Six Flags Over Texas.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
It's on the site.
In Arlington. Yes. Well, yes.
It was at the site of a former...
Apparently, it's been... Okay, this comes from CBS News. Apparently, it's been the basis of many urban legends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, over time. So, and ghost hunters believe that it's the most haunted place in Texas.
Yeah.
Who knew?
It must have been like a burial ground or something, maybe.
Well, ghosts have been spotted at the Music Mill, the Palace, the candy store, and in open areas of the park, like the log ride. They're just like, oh, let's go.
Maybe they're just having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a ghost, it's a fun place to be. Okay?
It's a fun place to be. The Six
People
Flags
are
over
happy.
Texas.
It's like people are having a good time.
Ghosts love a theme park.
One apparition named Annie is a young girl, again.
A young girl named Annie.
Who haunts the candy store near the Texas Giant. You have not been to Six Flags yet.
No, I haven't.
The Texas Giant is a large wooden roller coaster.
Oh, yeah. Probably the oldest in Texas, I'm sure.
I think, something like that, yeah. In the early 1900s, an 8-year-old girl, wasn't the girl in the Driscoll 8 years old also?
Yeah.
An 8-year-old girl drowned in Johnson's Creek, and it is said that her ghost wanders along the railroad tracks or stays in the historic house at the park.
I mean, yeah.
She's like, this is my house,
Yeah.
It goes with my time period. It's cute. Originally, it was an old farmhouse that was moved to Six Flags.
Oh, yeah.
Employees have reported problems with keeping the candy store door locked, the lights going on and off, and the upstairs curtain being opened and closed. Many guards make jokes about Annie being playful. So she's just,
She's just a playful ghost.
She went in the candy store.
She's a mischievous little ghost.
She's peeking out windows. She's doing all the little girl things, yeah. Let's see. Oh, it says visit the Haunted Six Flags Over Texas forum online and enjoy employees' ghostly stories of cold spots, entities, being touched by something while they're alone, seeing an entity of an old man in overalls standing on the stage at the palace, and other scary tales. Apparently in the 1980s there was a ghost named Angus who was one of the men that was building the palace.
Oh, yeah.
And he fell to his death.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, so an employee shared that one evening as she closed down the palace but returned to get something, she found the popcorn machine was on and it was full of hot popcorn.
Yeah, Angus wanted his popcorn.
He was hungry.
He was going to watch a movie.
He was like,
he
was probably going to invite Annie over. They were going to make a night of it. Other haunted places in Texas are, of course, the Alamo.
Yeah.
And the Menger Hotel in San Antonio.
Yeah.
The USS Lexington in Corpus Christi.
Oh, I remember something about that.
You can kind of get vibes. When I'm thinking back on it, like, there's a little bit of a vibe.
A little vibe, yeah. Ships are usually haunted, though. That's the sailor's superstition there.
And the Hotel Galvez in Galveston. I think that one has something to do with the hurricane.
Oh,
possibly, yeah. The big hurricane that they had there at the turn of, I think the turn of the century, but
19 1899.
Yeah, the 1900
1900s.
turn of the century, yeah. Okay, from travel and leisure now, we're just going to move on to a couple of general cities that are just so full of haunted spots that we just have to say the entire city as a place. Have a guess. Have a guess what one of them
cities?
is. Yeah. Which let's just think of somewhere in the United States that you would expect to be a fairly haunted
New York City.
Oh, New York City. Yeah, I think so. That's not one of the ones I jotted down, but
Boston.
Okay,
I'm thinking East Coast because
when I'm looking at the list, I mean, most of the places are over on the East Coast. Yes, this one it does not happen to be. It's New Orleans.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah, it seems creepy, right? It seems like it's probably
it's on
it's old.
Yeah.
There's water. There's probably fog rolling in sometimes. New Orleans, Louisiana. With dozens of reportedly haunted places, New Orleans is one of the country's most haunted cities. By paranormal standards, New Orleans really has it all. Churches, haunted by the spirits of former priests, former hospitals visited by soldiers who died but never truly passed on, and homes filled with ghosts of residents who died on the premises. Not to mention all the vampire stories. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there was I don't know if it was a story or maybe it was a video game, actually. Sherlock Holmes The Awakened, where he goes to New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some sort of vampire story.
Oh, really?
So that.
There you go, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's
So New Orleans,
It's the French connection.
Yeah.
It's you can just picture
Gothic.
Turn of the century, late 1800s, women, and then just being bitten by vampires. Carrying their little parasols,
Parasols, and I do declare. Oh, they don't do that there, do they?
No, not really.
More in South Carolina.
Little creepy French vampires.
Little creepy French vampires coming to get us.
The city also has its share of notable ghosts, including author William Faulkner.
Oh, yeah.
Whose spirit is sometimes spotted at his former home turned bookstore, Faulkner House Books. Old Absinthe House, open since the early 1800s, is supposedly haunted by voodoo practitioner Marie Laveau, Andrew Jackson, and pirate Jean Lafitte, among others. St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 is another paranormal hotspot said to be haunted by hundreds and hundreds of ghosts. So, yeah. New Orleans. I think I've always heard that that's a big place to be at Halloween for if you want to go see actual haunted places, Yeah. And then the other city, I just jotted down 2 cities because I'm sure, like you said, New York, all the older East Coast cities were going to be on that list.
Yeah.
But this is another one that I thought was interesting. I don't know that I would have guessed that it was a very haunted city, but it makes sense because it's old.
Was it Seattle?
Chicago,
yes.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Big city.
It's a big city.
Yeah.
It's on one of the Great Lakes. What is it, Lake Michigan?
Yeah. I don't know which one, but yeah.
Yeah, so it just, it's quite a big city.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff went down there.
It had a fire. It was
a big fire.
It was big, mob ties.
Mob ties, yeah. Al Capone and everything.
Prohibition, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a lot of,
So, a disastrous fire, a notorious serial killer. Oh, I don't know who that is.
I was going to say the Boston Strangler, but no. It's not. It's
no.
The Boston Strangler, but the Chicago Strangler. The Chicago Killer.
Oh, and mob history all led to Chicago becoming an allegedly haunted destination.
Who was the serial killer in
I don't know. We'll have to look it up. Unless someone knows. Someone let us know.
Yeah, someone let us know. Who was your...
Chicago's big serial killer.
Biggest serial killer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we know who it is once we here. Iroquois Theater was the site of a tragic fire killing hundreds in 1903, and some say the alley behind the theater is still haunted by those unfortunate patrons. H.H. Holmes, oh, here we go, the country's first serial killer. How did they know that?
How did you know the first? Well, is the first one to be mentioned.
I guess so, or the first one they caught and were able to tie to them, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who confessed or whatever, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he just worked in Chicago.
H.H. Holmes, the country's first serial killer, murdered dozens, if not hundreds, of women in his infamous murder castle. I've never heard of him.
Oh, when was that?
It doesn't say.
I'm gonna guess it was after Jack the Ripper.
I would assume.
Because a lot of these things are like copycat. Like, oh, I read about this guy.
Yeah.
Over in London killing all the women.
Yeah.
Seems right, but I should do it over here, you know. Get that going over here.
Oh, no. And while that building was replaced, some workers still report odd experiences while working in the new building's basement. Oh, the site of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
There we go.
That was a big deal. Often attributed to Al Capone, reportedly it has.
I think Al Capone said he had nothing to do with it. You know, even years later.
What?
He said that wasn't me.
I'm sure he would have said that.
Must have been the ghosts.
Reportedly has some residential paranormal energy too. These are just a few of the many haunted sites in the Windy City. Yeah, and they have a ghost tour, apparently. So.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Because when we were in London, we were going to do the Jack the Ripper tour.
Yes, don't remind me.
It was getting late.
And when he says late, you guys, he means 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was getting dark, and we were all tired, and it was just like, oh, and you were kind of like, oh, I want to do this. I was like, we'll have to do it again sometime. So next time we'll do it.
Well, we've been going since, 7 a.m.? It was 4:30. It was dark. I mean, pitch black. Everything was closing. It was freezing. And I think the tour didn't start until 8 or something. So, I mean, I guess we could have gone back to the hotel and come back, but it was a no-go. I mean, next time I think we will do it though. We'll do your Jack the Ripper tour, and it'll be all creepy at night in Whitechapel. Yes.
You know, to see all the things or not see them because it'll be dark. But that's the way it was back then. No one could see anything.
Okay, moving on to Forbes magazine. I say magazine. These are websites. I mean, they're magazines as well, but does anybody read magazines anymore, do we think?
People who are waiting in doctors' offices
that's
and
true.
dentists' offices.
That's very true.
And waiting to get their car detailed.
Although the last few times I've been to doctors' offices and car dealerships or car,
and there's been...
Everyone's on their phones.
Everyone's on their phones, and there's a stack of magazines.
Yeah.
I actually find the magazines quite interesting because they haven't been updated for years.
They're from 2012 or something.
Not even some of them are even older. There you go. That's a hobby for someone out there,
Okay, this one is so... I put this one on the list because I just found it really interesting. Well, it's got a history, but like you were saying before, most of these haunted places are people's homes or hotels.
Hotels, yeah.
Yeah,
it's usually a hotel.
Yeah. This one is Jailhouse Pizza. It's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant that used to be a jailhouse.
Yes. Yeah.
Hence the name.
In Brandenburg, Kentucky.
Oh, there we go. Kentucky.
The history of it is that before being converted into a pizza restaurant, this building served as the Meade County Jail for 70 years from 1906 to 1976.
Oh, yeah.
The ominous appearance of it aside, Jailhouse Pizza is a functioning restaurant that draws in locals and travelers from all walks of life, day in and day out, says Olivia Olivares. She apparently...
Olivia Olivares.
Yeah, she's somebody that they were talking to in this article. She's apparently part of a paranormal investigative team called The Haunted Historian. And they have an Instagram, and they appear on all of these
ghost
shows on TV. Yeah, like
paranormal activity.
They're the experts that they'll bring in, and they'll be like, "Oh yes, get their tools out and everything." Yeah, she says, come for a slice of small town pizza pie, whereas some come in for a slice of small town pizza pie, whereas
pizza pie,
yeah, I love that. Whereas others come in an effort to witness firsthand the rumors of paranormal activity that have become entwined with the location's past. Why, if you were a ghost, and you were in prison, why would you want to? I mean, are we to believe, like, the ghosts theory? And when I say ghosts, I mean the television show. The television
show, there's a boundary.
That where you die is where you're trapped.
You're trapped unless you ascend.
Yeah, yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, because there's a boundary, I mean, well, kind of giving spoilers here to ghosts and stuff if you haven't seen it. They die there and their spirit is trapped there. Mm-hmm. So they're just trapped within the boundary of this, like, land mass.
Yeah.
This, like, square footage or whatever. So, it's like,
there's a certain square footage that they cannot step out of.
Yeah, because they could try to get off the property and they just keep going back in,
Yeah.
It's quite funny. But yeah, because, it's just like, why, you're stuck there, smelling pizza.
Yeah, how torturous.
Yeah.
The haunted appeal is that while enjoying a hot slice, guests have heard clanking on jail cells, disembodied voices, and coughs from empty halls. And they've seen the apparition of Bigsby, the most well-documented spirit in the building, known to keep a careful watch over the comings and goings of the patrons. So he's like the unpaid host of this restaurant, basically. He goes around, he's like, are you enjoying your pizza, ma'am? He's coughing and...
He's coughing. He's just like, oh.
How do they know it's Bigsby, though? Or they've just named him that, maybe?
Bigsby, yeah. Someone came in and says, oh, yeah, the guy Bigsby, he died. Yeah, he was one of those guys.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Someone came up with a backstory for him.
Aw, poor ghosts. Okay, another one on this list is the Civil War Field Hospital in Gettysburg.
Oh, yeah.
The history of this is that the David Stewart farm is located in historic Gettysburg. The farmhouse and barn were used as a Civil War field hospital following the Battle of Gettysburg, and unfortunate as it is to say, many of the wounded men who found their way here never found their way back out. The haunted appeal of the place is that the longtime owner and Airbnb host, because it's now an Airbnb.
Of course it is, yeah.
Is an open book on the subject, letting all overnight guests know that they will be joined in their stay by a great many spirits, some of which have called the building home for well over a century. I mean, do you book an Airbnb? I mean, I know people.
People will make an Airbnb out of anything. I mean, Winnie the Pooh's house is an Airbnb now.
No, but I mean, like, do you book an Airbnb that you know is haunted?
Yes, people do. I mean, people would.
Do you though?
Do I? No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I wouldn't. I don't. I mean, it's like, oh, this is haunted. Is it? Or is it just the freaking owners banging chains or something?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if I added it to the list, but there's
night, and it's just like wake up, you go, what's that?
Yeah.
And then, you find out it was the owner.
Smacking
a pipe or whatever.
I don't know if I added it to the list, but there's some restaurant, I think in New York City it was, that it says all the classic, like, haunting elements are what you experience in this. Yeah, like picture frames moving to the side, and like all the cartoony type haunting things. And it just made me feel the same way. Like, so is the place actually haunted, or is it just the owners like pulling fishing wire and like making things move and like you said, banging on pipes?
What's that? Someone's knocking. Oh.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Okay, so we'll move on to this Condé Nast article that I found.
Condé Nast.
It had probably some of the more well-known places, I think, so I wanted to include some of them.
Yeah.
One of them is the House of Seven Gables in Salem, Massachusetts. No, this house did not steal its name from the classic novel. I've never read it. Have you?
Seven Gables.
The House of Seven Gables.
No, I mean I'm keep thinking of Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, I thought that too at first when it said
Anne of Green Gables.
When it said the classic novel, that was the first thing that came to mind. But no, it's the house. The novel is the House of Seven Gables. It did in fact inspire the novel, though.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, aside from being the site of those famous witch trials.
Oh, yeah.
Salem also happens to be the birthplace of Nathaniel Hawthorne, who used the 17th century house as inspiration for his famous 1851 novel, The House of the Seven Gables. Aside from its beautiful yet spooky facade, the house is surrounded by tales of paranormal activity and ghost sightings, all based on personal experiences of staff. Every October, the house offers spooky tours as well as weekly performances of 2 plays, The Legacy of the Hanging Judge.
The Legacy of the Hanging Judge.
Do you know that play?
I know that play.
Oh,
yeah.
And Spirits of the Gables.
Yeah, The Legacy of the Hanging Judge. I think it's based on... I'm actually not sure, actually, yeah. I might be thinking of something else, actually.
Okay, and another one on this list was Pine Barrens, New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
This is really interesting because
New Jersey.
It's a forest. So, unlike every other...
It's a forest, yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be a burial ground. See, I'm just like, it's
everything's
like,
a burial ground.
Everything is a burial ground. It's a little burial ground. And, it's just all,
Yeah.
That's where it's haunted, because that's where they... laid to rest,
Yeah. The heavily forested Pine Barrens spans over 1 million acres.
Oh, yeah.
1 million, yes!
Yeah, so there's got to be a few ghosts hanging around there. Yes. Just hanging out.
Yes.
Like, you go over there, you not be here,
God, you think of, like, Sherwood Forest, right? Yeah, Sherwood Forest was supposed to be haunted. It's like 1 million acres, yeah.
Yeah.
Spans over 1 million acres and 7 counties in New Jersey. Wow. The area thrived during the colonial period, host to sawmills, paper mills, and other industries. There we go.
Yeah.
Anywhere where there were those mills, people were killed.
Yeah,
because...
I told you about the kids. I think probably in the most haunted places in the UK, I talked about mills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like boys of like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
We're always getting killed by the textile mills and stuff like that. Not even just like anything. And we went to like visit a couple.
I mean, OSHA didn't exist back then, so it was just like there was no kind of safety standards.
Yeah, no, and I mean the health and safety and all that. Yeah,
yeah.
We went to visit them, and I always, in like school trips and stuff, we always went to this one. And I think we went there like 3 times. Or maybe it just sticks in my head,
Yeah.
Maybe we visited it twice, and it's just like, it seems like we were always going there.
Yeah.
And I remember the guy who was taking us round, he goes, okay, and this is where the boys younger than you would be, go under there, to like, untangle the machines or whatever, and then they'd start working and slice them all up and stuff, and
it's true though, isn't it?
And everything, and you'd have to leave them there. You have to leave them there because of the work and all that. And you'd have to like, and
what?
No. He was getting all into it. This guy.
You just leave them there.
Leave them there because no one could get back under there until the work was done until the end of the day.
Oh my God!
And the other boys would have to go under there and do it. And it's terrible.
No. People eventually abandoned the mills and surrounding villages when coal was discovered to the west in Pennsylvania, leaving behind ghost towns.
Yeah.
And some say a few supernatural wonders. Oh, wanderers. Sorry about that. Supernatural wanderers. The most popular Pine Barrens resident is without a doubt the Jersey Devil, According to legend, the creature was born in 1735 to Deborah Leeds. Her 13th child, with leathery wings, a goat's head, and hooves.
Oh, yeah.
It flew up the Leeds' chimney and
the
into...
Moloch, is it? Is it like the Moloch?
I don't know.
They call the Moloch the
Moloch.
Moloch, he's like the guy, isn't he? Like in the vampire stories.
I don't know.
Moloch. Yeah, he's featured in like stuff like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Sleepy Hollow and all that kind of stuff. God. Moloch,
I don't know. He flew up the chimney and into the barrens where it has reportedly been killing livestock and creeping out South Jersey residents ever since.
So all the South Jersey residents are creeped out by this Moloch feat. Oh, not even Moloch, something.
This one I wonder if you've...
worse than Moloch.
The next one I wonder if you've heard of. Because I have. And I'm not sure if it has just become like an urban legend that exists kind of everywhere at this point, or if maybe there was a movie made about this or something. I've definitely heard of this.
Yeah.
It's Emily's Bridge in Stowe, Vermont.
Oh, yeah, I know Emily's Bridge. It's where Emily fell off, isn't it?
No, you're just guessing.
I'm just yelling. I don't actually know.
New England is known for its lovely covered bridges, but some are more likely to elicit dread rather than delight. Take Emily's Bridge in Stowe, for example, a 50-foot-long bridge that is said to be the site of a young woman's suicide in the mid-1800s.
Oh.
According to legend, the woman, Emily, was supposed to meet her lover at the bridge to elope, but ended up hanging herself from the rafters when he never showed up.
Yeah, I think I've heard... I mean, that's an age-old story.
Yeah, right?
Bridges and
but,
stuff like
did
that.
it start here?
Maybe that was where they were populated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I've definitely heard that. Today, Emily's ghost is said to be maliciously haunting the site, clawing at passing cars, and even scratching the backs of pedestrians until they bleed. Until they actually physically
She's very
bleed.
mad.
She's very angry.
Very angry about this guy not showing up.
There are slightly less menacing spooks as well, like images of a white apparition and strange voices and footsteps coming from the tunnel. The white apparition, yeah, when I was looking at this...
The white apparition's classic, isn't it?
In almost every one of these places that I was looking at,
It's a white apparition.
It's a woman in white.
It's a woman in white.
One of the articles even said in parentheses, "Isn't it always?" It's just like,
Isn't it always?
It's either a woman in white or like a little girl chasing after a ball. I don't know.
Chasing after a ball.
Yeah.
Or with a creepy doll.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, it's always those things.
She's got a little doll and she's just running around.
Or like a soldier on a horseback.
Soldier, yeah.
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 But yeah, so that bridge. But I mean, scratching pedestrians' backs until they die, and I mean until they until they die. Until they bleed. That's a bit like, what?
It's a bit weird.
How do you explain that?
How do you explain that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to just cross that bridge when we come to it.
Boom, boom.
That was a very good joke, that.
One left.
One of the oldest ones as well.
One left on the list.
One left, and then we'll haunt you.
And
then we'll leave you to haunt.
And we couldn't have this list without this one, so what do you think it is? We're talking haunted places in America.
Area 51.
Oh, is that supposed to be haunted? That's aliens.
The alien is probably dead now, and it's probably haunting.
The alien has died, and now it's haunting the place.
Yes.
No, it's the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park,
Stanley
Colorado.
Hotel, that's the classic Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
He's still there.
The Stanley Hotel's stately Georgian architecture and world-renowned whiskey bar has lured travelers to Estes Park since the hotel opened in 1909. But the Stanley reached new levels of fame after inspiring Stephen King's fictional Overlook Hotel from The Shining. That eerie association aside, many other ghost sightings and mysterious piano music have been connected to the hotel.
Music.
Yeah.
It's also always a deserted hotel.
There's always like a piano playing as well. You know, you see the lady in white. I think sometimes the lady in white's dripping, too. She's like...
Dripping water?
She's just dripping with water. She's come out
She's drowned.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
And then the little girl with the ball, and then the piano that's just playing music and no one's there.
Ding, ding,
yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
That's like really, really old. Like, I'm talking go back to like maybe even...
I can hear piano music.
You can see like really old like black and white movies. And the piano, and you can see the keys being pressed down, but like no one's sitting there, right?
Sitting there. It's always the way.
The Stanley Hotel leans into its reputation quite cleverly, offering nightly ghost tours and psychic consultations from the in-house Madame Vera. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
People love that sort of thing.
I think my mom's been there, actually, and I don't remember her reporting any kind of like... I don't know if she stayed or if they just visited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm all for going somewhere haunted. Sure, why not?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
It'll be an experience.
Yeah.
And, we talked about it in the UK before, too. So.
I tend to think, most ghosts, though, are like the ghosts in the show. They're just living their lives. They're just here. Yeah, they're just stuck for whatever reason. They're just in a loop. Like, I don't think they're scary. Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're like Emily in the bridge, like clawing your back,
Yeah.
The majority of them are just like, oh God, not this again. They wake up and they're just like, oh, I'm still here. Ugh, been here for hundreds of years already. When is this going to be finished? Anyway. Let us know if you have ever experienced a haunting. Dominic and I are about to record our patron-only podcast.
Well, we'll discuss our personal experiences.
Yep. So if you want to hear that, head over to our Patreon page. It is patreon.com/TinaBuddy, as we said earlier. But that's up to you whether you do that or not. If you choose not to go.
It's a requirement, actually.
If you choose not to go
now.
Listen to our personal hauntings, our personal hauntings, then just let us know yours. Let us know any of your stories. Yeah. They interest me. I tend to feel a little bit like iffy about people in these ghost shows on TV as to whether they're really experiencing things or whether they're just saying stuff because they're on TV.
Yeah.
But if it's just an average Joe on the street, like just someone I'm talking to and they go, oh yeah, I've had like weird things happen and they tell me something, then I believe
it. Yeah, you tend to believe it more than
it's
the
like
so-called experts,
Yeah. Or, well, I mean, not even the experts, but just any of these people who are like calling these ghost hunters over to their house because I have a haunting, Or like these people on TikTok, oh, my house is haunted. I'm just like, is it, or are you just like trying to get views on TikTok,
Yeah. My house is haunted. What's that?
Yeah. But I am interested in like genuine, like ghosty kind of experiences. Have you ever seen a lady in white? Have you ever seen a little girl chasing after a ball?
A little girl chasing after a ball.
It's never a little boy. Why?
Surely there's some little boys out there somewhere, but little girls are creepier, I guess.
I guess they're always in like a
little dress,
Victorian kind of dress, yeah.
And they're just like that.
And they have a bow in their hair, yeah. They're just like
they're very specific.
Yes, they are
specific to a time period, because they died of cholera or the plague or something,
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Follow us on social media if you don't already. We are at TBuddy on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. TEABUTTY. And we'll talk to you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.